Welcome, future masters. Today I'm going to show you a fantastic position that's going to focus really on the skill of visualization. And this is going to show you what happens when you work on your game every day. So stick around, I'll be right back. Gentlemen, this is the recreation of the position that we're going to run the butt kicking combo. So this was the move he played. Queen went to G5. I probably took something. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. So this is where I come up with the best combination I have done in months. Under the pressure is why it's so great. Rook takes. Now that jerk went king to there, fine, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, this is, let's see, should we do that? Yeah, let's do it the way he did it. I guess that's, follow the way it was done, because this is technically the best, because it makes it slightly more difficult. Because how many players at this point, after doing this rook takes pawn, are going to go, oh, now what? I know I asked, now what? And I'm like, what are you doing now, Bobby Fischer? That was when I realized it's checkmate. So I had extra incentive. Rook, that was this is double exclamation point. King takes. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. This is, this is the best move because everything else is just rook takes with check. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. Here's number 7. Again, he could go here, but it's just shorter. 8, 9. He has no choice now. He's here. 10. Finally, pawn takes queen. 11. 12, check. Yeah, but I saw this, dude. 13, counter check. Eat this. 14, 15. And then this is what I saw. I go, I took his queen. He's got no pieces but his knight. I'm like, you're dead. But those robbers, they didn't let us, let you guys see it. I had to go and create the ending, which is unbelievable. It's the greatest combination I have played for sure in months. How many months, I don't know. But that was the version that they played. I'm going to run through the original version I calculated, which is it's like the tree trunk. It's the tree trunk. And all they did was add a couple of moves. But I'm going to show you exactly what I saw. The way I saw it. And it turned out to be correct. There's 18 pieces. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's it. So here's what I calculated. 1, 2, 3. Now in this version, he technically has, I guess, king to G3, but it's not good, as you can see after queen that the bishop checks. This is so obviously bad that you would never play this move. You'd have to go to the file anyway. Now we just take it. It's the same kind of the same concept, or a very similar concept. I'm going to win his queen, but this is like so obviously stupid, and he's so obviously dead. Okay, the computer says it's trash. Okay, it's obviously dead. All right, so we didn't do this, obviously. This is not what I calculated, being in there. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is exactly the same position that we reached in the original problem with his 2 moves added. So this is 5, right? Yes, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I've just completely won this game. I didn't even go to the 14th one because in my mind, with my visualization, I saw this position and that there was nothing he could do. So this is, sort of the culmination of all of the visualization that I've done in problems, whatever, throughout this channel. So this is, doing it, I do this every day. So this is what I do. And to do what you have seen me do, you got to go out there and you got to pump iron, okay? You don't get a super muscular body if you don't pump iron. So go out and pump iron to get stronger physically, practice chess problems, and learn, find the right moves to pump iron mentally for your game of chess. So these are parallels. You don't get strong if you don't pump iron. So you pump iron for your muscles. You pump chess iron, puzzles, and explanations, studies of end games, having watching players explain how you do end games, or even openings works as well. So you have to pump iron both mentally and physically. This is how you get this 13 mover that I did in my head. You could cheat, but when I go out to tournaments and win tournaments, it's because I have visualization powers that have been honed to a very sharp edge. There's a lot of good players I've played, man. You can't beat them all. You do your best, and whatever happens, happens. But when you do that, if you do your best and you lose, the other guy does better than you, you're like, man, that guy's good. That's just what it is, Sometimes that guy says it about you. Sometimes you say it about him. And sometimes you say it about each other. It's like, man, that was a good game. Because when 2 really good players play and then one of them wins, it's not that the other guy's trash. It's that when you have 2 good players playing, one good player is probably going to lose. All right? So that's the thing. This was awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It's going to be a killer video, I'm telling you. So like the video, tell your friends, but don't tell your enemies. This is how they get strong. You don't want them using my stuff against you. You want to use it against them. Subscribe if you haven't already. I don't know how that's possible, but I will see you guys later. Look at this guy. Again, check, boom, check, the rook. Now what are you doing, Bobby Fischer? I don't know, bishop checks. Oh yes, bishop checks, rook takes, queen checks. And guess what? King h2, pawn takes free queen. And I have this queen here. So blam, I get rid of the rook. We're even. Okay, I'm going to minus a rook. Bam, 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 check. Rook takes bishop, queen takes, and my bishop down. Check. King to h2, pawn takes queen. I'm a bishop down, but I took his queen. And he could play here. And I would interpose queen, h4 check, rook takes queen, pawn takes rook. I win an exchange for this. I end up with, wait a second, I went up with a rook, and he ends up with a knight. Game over, chump. Oh, grasshopper. How clever you are. Well, I said this in a video yesterday, that when you're sacrificing, or was it yesterday or the day before, when, you know, it's part of, it's when not to take a piece. So when you're attacking, sacrificing a piece, when a piece is being sacrificed against you, you have to sometimes calculate, do I not take it or do I take it? And then I said, and then on the other hand, when you're sacrificing, you must calculate capturing or not capturing. Now, capturing is the most critical line because you're throwing wood into the fire, okay? And that wood doesn't come out. You just don't take the wood out of the fire once it's burning. So I did the most critical version, which is him capturing, and I end up an exchange ahead after some god-awful calculations. Actually, let's count this off while it's still fresh in my mind. Since he didn't take, it would be 1. That's the move he played. It'd be takes is 2, rook check 3 on f8, king g1 4, bishop d4 5, rook takes bishop 6, queen takes rook 7, king h2 8, pawn takes queen 9, king g3 10, queen h4 11, check, rook takes queen is 12, pawn takes rook is 13. So that's where I'm a exchange up after a 13 move combination, which did not get played. Those jerks, they robbed me of this 13 move combination that I calculated. Hopefully you guys appreciate that 13 move combination that you didn't get to see physically. Now, of course, you can always set this position up on a board and replay this and go, dang, dude, that was a good combo. But now this freak is wrecking my business. Freak is wrecking my business. And it's like, well, okay, what is Bobby Fischer up to now? I don't know, actually. I had not anticipated him not taking me. The problem that I have is I can't just go and do things willy-nilly, because he is threatening now a counterattack of rook takes h6 check, which is mating. Bishop takes is forced, queen takes check, and hasta la vista. That is checkmate, actually. So I'm thinking I have to play queen to f4. This is the kind of grief that I run into. Unbelievable, right? I don't know if queen to f4 is good enough. And I don't know. We could kind of force this maybe with rook to f1 check, which is like a super advanced move. I mean, I looked at rook g2 check, but his queen is just on me like white on rice. Then again, maybe it is good. Rook g2 check, queen takes. I didn't analyze it fully. Bishop to d4 check. Rook takes, queen takes, check. And then, yeah, the problem with rook takes g2 is that his queen gets off of g5. And the whole point about this combination is to try and force his king to the h-file so that we can play pawn takes queen. That is the core of what we've been doing. I think rook f1 check, which would be the most brilliant move I've played today, no question about it, if that is the correct move. That's the kind of move when you play that, you're like, brother, I can play some chess. Okay? Anybody can play, you know, the stuff we play. Blank takes free blank. Okay, whatever. Pawn fork, you know, X-ray attack. Clearance, sacrifice, or pursuit with rook to f1 check, if that's the correct move. This is not a move you see very often. It's the kind of thing that makes a grandmaster proud. I assume I'm not one, so I can't tell you. Let's look at this. Rook f1 check. Well, clearly, the whole point is if he goes to h2, we take his queen. And then we'll counter-sacrifice our queen. We're breaking his mating attack is what we're doing. So rook f1 check. If he goes rook takes f1, bishop d4 once again. And we're going to force this dude. Rook f1, bishop d4 check. I can't imagine that he'd play rook to f2. Because then there's queen e1 check, followed by king h2, followed by queen takes rook check in the corner, king takes h1, pawn takes queen. You jerk. Okay, and that would, once again, we'd sacrifice our queen for his rook to get this queen. So it's a 1 for 2. So we'd get our rook back. It looks like we're getting our rook back. Now if we rook check him, king f1, this is basically the same thing as when his king was on f2. We just play rook over here, check. All right? And it's the same thing. I'm playing it. Ugh! Yes! That is the move. You're smoked, Sonny.